Right, it's time now for your morning business report. If you waited until now to get your Christmas tree, you probably saved some. We're comparing prices of real trees and artificial ones.
Yeah, Scott says he always scored a deal by waiting to the last minute when he was growing up his family.
Right.
And the ongoing battle to buy Warner Brothers is really heating up this morning. Your reporter Jeff Vaughn has those stories and much more in your morning business report.
Good morning. Today, the consumer confidence, durable goods, and gross domestic product reports are released, all economic indicators of the strength of the U.S. economy. Paramount Skydance adding a promise in their offer to Warner Brothers Discovery, that being a personal guarantee from billionaire Larry Ellison of $40 billion in financing. The board was looking for confirmation that the father of Paramount chief David Ellison was fully committed to the deal. Paramount's offer is $108 billion. The American Christmas Tree Association reports 80% of American families will buy an artificial tree this year, but the price is reaching a tipping point. Associated Press reports costs are up 10 to 15% due to tariffs, and now we're seeing a bump in live Christmas tree sales of 30 million customers. The Real Christmas Tree Board reports the average price per tree is $80. Fake trees average over $200. Shares of Dominion Energy taking a hit after the White House pauses offshore wind projects in Virginia over concerns by the Pentagon. Seems 176 turbines create a reflective risk to U.S. defense radar. The pause will give the government time to mitigate that risk. Sundays are the new Mondays, according to Business Insider. White-collar workers, on average, in the U.S. log about 5.5 hours of work on Sundays. December 15th is the last hard-working day of the year, according to talkers. Seems half of all workers give the bare minimum after that. The average worker says it can wait until next year, 16 times in the last 2 weeks of the year. I'm Jeff Vaughn. That's your morning report.